Hello. So, one thing that surprised me this week was not that Christianity had already spread before missionary activity began, but that it had spread so far. It had spread through Persia, India, China, Ethiopia, and other parts of Africa and Asia long before European missionary expansion. I was especially surprised by Dr. Kim's account of Sama, a priest from near Beijing who celebrated the Eucharist in Europe during the 13th century. His story challenged the common assumptions that Christianity developed in Europe and was later carried to the rest of the world. This history deepened my belief that Christianity is far more culturally and theologically diverse than many modern theologians acknowledge. The global church cannot be fully understood through categories developed primarily through Western Christianity. Christian communities around the world have encountered God, interpreted scripture, and expressed their faith through many different cultural traditions. Living missiologically, therefore, requires humility about the limit of anyone's theological perspective. It means listening to Christians whose experiences differ from my own and recognizing that there may reveal dimensions of God and the gospel that Western theology has overlooked. Every part of the global church has something to give and something to receive. Andrew Draper's discussion of Christian guesting had the greatest impact on me. He challenged Christians to stop imagining themselves only as hosts, experts, or leaders. Sometimes faithful mission requires entering spaces where we must receive hospitality and allow others to lead us and to teach us. This is relevant to my context because churches often speak about diversity while continuing to center the same cultural practices, leadership structures, and ways of thinking that marginalize people in the past and currently. Marginalized people may be welcomed into the room while still being expected to adapt to a structure that they had no role in creating. Draper pushed me to think beyond inclusion towards shared authority, mutual vulnerability, and genuine belonging. The advocacy and justice issue I am most passionate about is structural inequity. I'm interested in how laws, institutions, policies, and long established social practices become embedded within systems and restrict the opportunities and quality of life available to different demographic groups. I'm also interested in how certain demographics completely ignore that these are built into the system and why that and how they can't ignore those things. My primary focus is on systemic inequities related to racial and ethnic minority status in the United States and throughout the world. I'm especially interested in how these conditions affect individuals and communities psychologically, cognitively, socially, and spiritually. At the same time, I want to understand the resilience and adaptive qualities people develop in response to adversity. Studying resilience does not excuse unjust systems or place responsibility on change on those who have been harmed. Instead, it recognizes the strength, wisdom, and cultural resources and hope the marginalized communities have demonstrated while continuing to pursue structural change. I am personally involved through my research on racial discrimination and executive functioning among African Americans, as well as through my developing clinical work and assessment work. Core Mode's discussion of faithful action challenged me to consider whether our justice efforts produce meaningful challenge or simply allow us to feel that we have responded. The question I would like to discuss with my formation group is how can churches confront structural inequities while also recognizing and strengthening the resilience that already exists within marginalized communities?